And we're back here in Toronto, Canada for the second Open semifinal. Team Canada versus Team Germany. We're about to get started here. Canada, one of the heavy favorites to make the finals. Germany, a bit of a surprise to be here with a surprising victory over Japan yesterday in the quarterfinals. And Germany, though, the underdog, will start in offense as Hochhalter gets things going for Team Canada. I'm Brian Jones with Kevin Minder out. This is Next Gen Network's coverage of the U23 World Championships. Off to a start, Canada coming out with a zone, forcing middle, 2-3-2, two deeps, and a turnover right away in the end zone, not the start that Germany wanted. And this has been dangerous thus far for any team facing Canada's end zone offense, highly efficient, sometimes going multiple games without a turn. Near the end line, Hochhalter with Carroll at the front of the stack, no reset. Carroll in movement, Hochhalter. Carroll gets things going for Team Canada, who despite a little bit of drizzle is going to have huge crowd support today.
That's correct, Brian. Canadians playing on their home turf here at the U23 World Championships. And the decided favorite to win this game. This one's starting off the exact opposite as the game prior to this. For those of you just joining us, thank you so much. We apologize for the delay. WFDF rules state that games must be played out. There's no hard cap, so the games prior to this, both going long. And we're coming to you as quickly as possible after that last broadcast. Canada starting this game off with a break, up 1-0. Canada, the number one seed overall, and as you said, Brian, an absolute favorite to be in the finals.
This pole going out the back and against the wind. Impressive from Hochhalter. Mueller picking it up. Nico Mueller, number 33, center handler for the Germans, has been critical to the success downfield. We see Wallace and Christian Bopp. Both cutters have been very important. Talking to the Canadian coach, Andy Collins, before the game, saying that the Germans really like the deep game and that they make a lot of vertical cuts. Here, the Canadians are going to try to deny the underneath. Right off the bat, Mueller gets to Reiner. Now looking around, looking for the underneath. Bopp, Mazzucchelli on the D, but Bopp injured in the process. Lots of contact.
Grabbing the right ankle. There's another look at it. It looked like Mazzucchelli just coming down. Gets a little piece of his shoe, but Bopp, tough guy that he is, gonna shake it off, get this disc back into play.
Ojo poaching the lane. Hoffman back to Reiner. Hoffman. Looking for Bopp behind the throw. Another turnover. Hochhalter. Mazzucchelli. Hochhalter. Ojo Jr. for the score and the break. 2-0 Canada.
The Canadians coming out firing, ready to get it done. And the Germans not on point. Two turnovers early and giving the Canadians the short field to work with. And it's easy for Bopp, or it's easy for Ojo towing that one in.
Remy Ojo out of Queen's University. Played for GOAT on the club level as well, out of Toronto. Canada begin to mix up their D-lines. Right now, a few injuries for Team Canada. 3 defensive handlers with injuries, and as a result, Andy Collins has put almost a pitch count on some of the defensive handlers, how many points they're allowed to play, so that way they don't overburden anybody going into late this tournament. Only 2 games a day max for these teams, but still a long process. We're on day number 7. for the Canadians.
And Canada in the B pool early on in this tournament, they've actually played an extra game over the Germans coming out of the A pool.
Looking for Mueller, another zone. Mueller going back to the bread and butter. Looking for Harris for the goal. And Germany gets on the board. That's more like it for the Germans of what we've seen, choosing to huck over Japan their way into the finals.
Nico slinging that disc. It wasn't particularly high, Brian, but it was hard and fast. And you saw on that replay one of the Canadian defenders not wanting to get in the way of that disc. That would be a painful discovery. Working out for Nico. Nico, one of the 2 captains on this team, along with Aaron Brucklaha.
Really, though, it's been the younger Brucklaha, Mo, getting it done on the D-line. Very impressive breaks. We'll get a chance to see both of them here on this possession.
Mo Brucklaha, the younger brother, as you just mentioned, the puller for the German squad.
This pull, high and long, gonna go and fall right on the sideline. Great pull, great position for the German defense to start. Underhill has first point with Knapp. Both handlers have been in control this tournament. Looking for Underhill. Talking to the coaches, talked about how smart he was. And he's fast, he's got the physical tools, but really doing it with his mental game. See physicality from the Germans. Call on the play. Brucklaha matched up downfield with Kelly.
We've really seen people having trouble communicating when a call happens at this tournament. Lots of times going 3-4 throws after the infraction occurs.
Yeah, I wonder if it's has a crowd and the ambient noise has anything to do with it. Sometimes the crowd is dead silent. Sometimes it's loud, but nonetheless, we've had long stoppages and more discussions in these close games in this elimination bracket. The winner of this game goes on to face USA tomorrow in the finals. Going deep. Brucklaha giving chase, goes up early. Coming down with it, Germany. Schall. Chance to get a break back. Tile. Brucklaha. Brucklaha looking deep for his younger brother, Mo. Kelly trying to give chase. Break for Germany. Back tied at 2s. Canada still up a break. Germany not going away.
Kelly unable to track that one down. There you see the D. And here, Brucklaha to Brucklaha. Kelly giving him a little bit too much cushion deep. And the right idea if you're Kelly, taller, probably a little bit faster. You want to force him deep. You want that throw to come off. You just need to be ready for when it does. He's feeling out the cushion that he can give him. He'll make the adjustment. Come back next time. Ready for that to go up.
Out on the offensive line for Canada, Sang, Greer, Knapp, Underhill. Also featuring Naden, Kelly. Germany with the pull. And they're going to come down zone with Bruglacher playing deep, it appears. No, regular man. Just joining late. Knapp going deep for Greer. Greer reading it on the backside, not in. Greer goes for the flip, is fouled.
Bringing a lot of contact. We saw that earlier. Greer using it to reset the count, talk to his teammates, figure out what they're going to do.
Easy over the top hammer to Massa Kelly. 3-2. Canada leads.
And Canada loves the pull plays, and they love to go deep. They got a lot of weapons down there. Massa Kelly, Greer getting together here for the score. Anytime you see the Canadians set up in something after the pull, you have to be ready for the deception and then the actual cut. They're always trying to decoy and then come in with a secondary option.
It's worked out thus far for the Canadians. Looking over to the German side, talking to the coaches well before their first game. They faced off against USA, giving USA probably their closest game, 9-8 lead Germany had going into the second half before the USA really woke up. And this is something that's we've talked about all week, Kevin, is confidence. And I don't think there's any shortage of confidence on this German team. They played some close games, a close victory over Australia on Universe Point 15-14, a close victory over Japan 15-13. Germany is the last team left with potential to upset. And you still expect Canada to be the favorite, but mentally you don't expect Germany to get out of their game.
Not at all. They're going to be in it the whole time. An unwillingness to lose, to fight to the bitter end. Doing what it takes to grind out victories.
You see here Canada forcing deep. Reiner going for Mueller. Carroll trying to chase it down. Mueller picks it up, makes it easy. That was plan A for the Canadian defense, forced them out. We'll see what plan B will be. Perhaps a better pull.
Yeah, plan A not working right now. They're just running isolations, foot races deep, putting up some great throws. That time Mueller doing it as a cutter, oftentimes as a handler for this team. The versatility is exactly what you want from one of your star players.
Canada's offense back in the field. We've settled into a little bit of a groove. Canada still up one break after the early going. Germany getting back into it after being down 2-0, tying it up at 3, getting one of the breaks back. Offensive line out for Team Canada. Massa Kelly, Knapp, Sang, Underhill, and Greer. Canada able to mix and match their lineups depending on what type of size, skill, and speed they would like. A lot of times they put an Underhill downfield to start things out. Here he's back to command. Split stack, pull play. Getting it around for Sang. Looking deep for Moore. Greg Moore reels it in. Does not get much easier than that for Team Canada, and that's where they excel, those pull plays.
And that one, just a matter of Mo trying to jump the route, leaving a wide open cutter. You saw Mo on the replay there trying to catch up, but too late, making it too easy. They miscommunicated on a switch, had two defenders guarding one guy. Both were under. Canadians able to make quick work of it. And the pace of this game early on is fast. Lots of hucks. Lots of getting what each team wants. Defensively, somebody's going to need to come up with a stop on the deep game. Then put some pressure on the handlers. Generate a turn. Right now, Canada's still in the lead. They're up a break. Those 2 breaks coming off of some early miscommunications by the Germans. Since then, the Germans have been high possession oriented, not turning it over.
What a pull from Hochhalter. Canada is there before the disc is even touching the ground or coming close to Mueller. Very deep in his end zone. Bop. Now Lamb, one of the top defensive players this week for Canada. Seen some pretty spectacular plays. Hoffman, 2 turnovers already he's been involved with. 1 throwing, 1 on the catch in the end zone. Hoffman flips it up to Wallace. Conrad Wallace, another impactful reason why Germany's in this game. Had a great game in Japan. Unfortunately, missing Hoffman. Things getting slippery underneath. Chura. Hochhalter making moves up the line. Gets the flip. No continuation. Puts it around the side for Sinclair. Reels it in for a Canadian break. 5-3.
Fantastic vision by Hochhalter. Seen through the stack, little x-ray vision there. Has the right tool for the job. Bending over the stack and dropping it in the pocket. Canada, another break.
Sinclair with the goal, Miles Sinclair. Dave Hochhalter really starting that play too with the pull.
Yeah, and there's something to be said about great pulls, great pulling teams. I'll take special note right now to talk about the U.S. women's team confidently outpulling their opponents by 15 to 20 yards every single time. And if Hochhalter can keep pulling them like that, going to give the Canadians a very big advantage in this game. Much farther field to work with. Just run the math on that. And it's really a reason why teams need to focus on getting their pulls inbounds. It's one of the underrated, most necessary attributes when you add up everything that goes into a game of Ultimate.
Zone by Canada once again. Hoffman has had problems. And around is Stroitza. Mueller, Wallace. Good movement by the Germans through the zone. Now a transition to man defense. Wallace putting this one up. Greer poaching off the man. Too far. Another chance for Canada to break. Hochhalter going deep. 2 players there. Lamb almost grabbing that one out of the sky. Misread it a bit.
Everybody misreading that one by more than a bit. Lamb showing off some nice hops there, but would have preferred a nice read. That disc came off so low, I think all the players expected it to fall. When it didn't fall, they all found themselves not in the vicinity at all.
Zone again by Canada. Like a 2-3-2, force middle with 2 deeps. And a drop again by the Germans. Second one of the game at the goal line. Flip for the score. Finding Carson Turner for the goal. 6-3. Canada with a great game plan to start this first half off.
And those kind of errors are devastating, not only because they allow a quick score, but mentally it gets you thinking, what are we doing? How are we making such basic errors? never what you want creeping into your game. Germans wisely going to take a timeout. We're going to take a timeout too. We'll be back with you after this commercial break.
And we're back here in Toronto, Canada for Team Canada versus Team Germany, the host team. Canada up 6-3. Thus far, I'm Brian Jones with Kevin Minderhout. Next Gen Network's coverage here at the U23 Championships. Germany, the surprise team to be in this spot. Started out the game down 0-2, tied it up at threes, and Canada has started to pull away, looking for those German hucks, and they've been able to track it down. But really, Kevin, it's been a handful of Germany's mistakes near the goal line that have them rethinking their confidence level.
Most definitely, and it's important to note that while the Canadians are up by 3, they're actually up by 4 breaks. And a lot of those coming off of German errors, allowing the short field for the Canadians and quick scores without putting a lot of pressure on them. So still an opportunity for the Germans to get back in this game. And that's going to be by making the Canadians go a longer distance and applying pressure. They haven't had the chance to show what their defense looks like because they've been making turnovers in the short field.
Germany here on offense. Brucklacher coming on the field. Mo Brucklacher, one of the most important players in this run for Germany, having to come back in the field. And it's just been drops and miscues so far for the German offense. But you can't afford those in the early stages of the game if you expect to stay with a team like Canada. Another great pull down the center of the field. Mueller. Stroitza on the sideline, still in the goal line. Mueller going to look deep, perhaps. No, underneath the bop. Didn't like the matchup downfield with Physicality. Underhill circling around as the mark. Mueller blocked in the air over the top. Getting a great piece of that was Michael Chura. Underhill as Hallcarter busting deep. Underhill floats one. Lots of time for Physicality. Puts this one to the back of the end zone, staying in. Hochhalter towing the line. No, going to rule himself out. Giving it back to the Germans. Just a little bit too much mustard.
Yeah, and Hochhalter going at the disc. Two-handed clap catch. Really, he needed to go with the one-handed extend, drag the foot. I think he just misanticipated exactly what the disc was going to do. And his timing was slightly off there, unable to make his grab and his feet connect at the right time together.
Brucklacher back in the end zone, flips it to Mueller. Brucklacher. Hoffman. Zone here, transitioning the man from the Canadians. Trying to play too deep at all time. Brucklacher putting it deep for Mueller. Ojo Jr. goes up, gets the block. Calls for a hack on the arm. We'll have to take another look at this one.
Ojo was sizing up for a long time. And a clean D. Mueller with the call. I was surprised to see Brucklacher get that one off, sneaking it around the defender. Here's another look at it. And Ojo doing a fantastic job reading the disc and getting at it just when he wanted to. It looks like Mueller's calling for contact on his arm, which the replay doesn't show. If you're going to make an argument, if any was to be had there, it would be Ojo coming into his back, but Remy did a nice job of going up vertically, making the play. Mueller just making a bad call. impressive throw nonetheless from that position. Again, saw it going up, thought it was going to stay out of bounds, not come back in.
The trusty lefty able to really get around the mark well and exploit the differences. It's just something a little bit different you have to deal with as a mark. Vahe. Harris looking for a reset. Like the Stroitza. Musso was almost there. Around to Mueller. Nico Mueller looking for Stroitza. Out the line to Bop. Inbounds. Mueller to the sideline. Holzer looking for Hoffman. Finds him up the line. Canada trying to mount a goal line stand. Germany marching. Flips it inside. Mueller. Shoestring catch to Bop. Toes the line. Going to be ruled out of bounds downfield. Contested perhaps.
I think actually what we're seeing is a travel call back here at Nico. You saw Nico raising his hand for it. The Canadian marks really coming around. Oh, a down call, excuse me, not a travel call. Underhill calling that one down.
Sideline for Canada echoing the force. As we get going, looking for Mueller. Popping up in the air. Hochhalter coming down with it. Turner. Kelly. Ocho is deep. Minderhout in the center of the field. Looking to fit it in. Kelly has to reverse direction. Bid behind him. Picks it up for the 7-3 lead.
And that one is coming back. We may be in the midst of another one of these games. Look at the bid, though, by Kelly. Travel called.
I think the best play of this tournament that didn't count.
Although there have been a lot of them, Brian.
Hochhalter. Everybody reset.
And Hochhalter, he done a nice job of last time of finding Turner looking off the early one. This time Underhill going deep.
Gets up and Kelly steals it from Chura for the goal. Says, hey, I want my highlight back. He gets it, 7-3 Canada.
Kelly making sure it gets done because Chura had his hand on. If that had been a German player, I'm sure we would have seen a strip call. But Chura happy to give the glory to Kelly. And the big early lead, Kelly making 2 highlight plays there to get this one going. Defensively, the Canadian marks are starting very flat and maintaining a lot of activity, really moving around, rotating with the pivot of the Germans, forcing them to some pressure situations. And the Canadian offense playing very clean right now.
You know, that's something that I like from the Canadian defense is those flat marks. You know, the Germans love to huck it. That's gonna help and stop that. You know that they also, if you've watched film of them or seen the games that we've done, they're not a team that likes to dump swing and traditionally change the point of attack and take advantage of it. It's a much more stagnant offense. Hey, let's look at a reset. Let's get it open to the side, and let's look for another huck opportunity. Those flat marks continuing to work for Team Canada. Stroitza going to let this one go, and it's going to be a boon for the Canadian defense in the back of the end zone. Stroitza surrounded. Hoffman makes the grab. Canadians smell blood Looking for the Callahan, get the tip. And it's going to be a turnover in the end zone. Another one. That's the third one for Germany this half.
Well, on credit, the Canadian Poles really trapping them back there. That's a great time when you get to come out in zone and they're trapped against the back because they can't go back around your zone. So you have half the area to cover. They went in with a three-person cup in a very tight, short, deep, or middle of the wall.
Play restarts. Flips it in for the goal. Finding Hot.
Wallace got caught poaching, trying to create a D rather than stick with his man. And instead leaves Hote wide open.
8-3, Canada 1 point away from taking half. When we looked at these two open semifinal games, we looked at USA versus Australia and Germany versus Canada, and we saw how close Germany played USA early going in this tournament, and we saw how Australia basically bowed down to the US, and we would have said this is the game that's going to be the good one, when it was in fact Australia taking it to USA a little bit in the early going.
Well, we would have said this is the game that the underdog has a better chance of winning. It was hard to tell if this was going to be a good one. And I think it is a good one if you're Canada, for sure. What it's not is a close one.
Lots of support for Team Canada here today. The host team, Canada advancing to 2 out of the 3 finals.
Dylan and Simon would love that.
It'll be USA versus Team Canada. In mixed, Canada winning on Universe over Japan, but the women falling on Universe to Japan. The USA versus Japan in the women's division. USA versus Canada in the mixed, and somebody versus USA, presumably Canada, should they keep this streak up. Baklaha against the Canadian zone. Again, another good pull, just setting up this defense. Kila gets it off. Baklaha, captain, finding younger brother Mo. Mo unleashing it to the break side. Lamb reading the play, gets the D. Hochhalter with the assist on the block. Hochhalter.
And Hochhalter was really sizing up his assignment on the sideline here. Assignment was trying to go deep. Hochhalter just puts his body in the way, runs into a brick wall.
Carroll going for half, running it down for the score. Michael Chura says, hey, I'll take that one. Mazzucchelli's not in the field. I'll grab the goal and a 9-3 halftime lead.
Lamb getting the D there, similar to the one we saw earlier, except for there he was on offense. And Chura sealing the deal for the 6-point halftime lead and a 7-break lead. The Canadians are going to start the second half on offense. Giant first half for them.
And we'll be back with second half action, see if Germany can get back into this game or if Canada is just going to roll on to the finals. This is Next Gen Network's coverage of the U23 World Championships. We're back here in Toronto, Canada for the U23 World Championships Open semifinal game 2. Canada versus Germany. Canada leading by 6 into the second half. I'm Brian Jones with Kevin Minderhout. This is Next Gen Network's coverage. Big thanks to our sponsors to open things off. Elemental Technologies and Coding and making our streams possible everywhere, anytime. Thank you very much to Elemental. And as in the background, you can see the Germans warming up. We saw this before the second half against the Japanese, a football-style drill. Trying to amp up the intensity. It worked last time. Not sure what it's going to mean for Canada. Japan may have been intimidated by that, but Canada certainly won't be.
Well, the Japanese were certainly not intimidated by it. They went out second half, played a really great game. It is a strange warm-up Nonetheless, not a lot of Frisbee-related action involved there.
Are you off me?
You saw the Canadians prior to that running some 40s. Everybody taking this very seriously out here. Getting ready for some physicality that they expect. There you see Kelly, one of the stars. Next to him, Hochhalter. And his pulling has been unreal. Every single one dropping in the back of the end zone, forcing the Germans to go more than the traditional 70, having to go 80, 85 yards every single possession, and that's resulted in a lot of short field turnovers and quick conversions for the Canadians. A big part of their 9-3 lead. Now they're starting on offense, a chance to build to 7 points. We'll see what the German defense can do. What do you think they're going to come down in, Brian?
I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of zone to try to switch it up, but I wouldn't. The Canadians are bound to handle anything. I'm just not sure if they're just going to come down in intense man after that last drill. Germany's got to really solve its own ends and its own offensively. Canadian offense has been good, but not great.
I'm going with zone as well. And there it is.
Four-man cup. Actually a 2-3-2 with two deeps. Rulaha strafing in the middle of the field. Isaiah Mazzucchelli. And as the Canadians play catch behind the play, Underhill.
Scott Moore over the top.
Shows he can go with the swing to the outside route. Greer now trying to pop it to the middle. Puts this high. Sang has to make the catch. Toes the line. McKenzie, name we haven't spoken about too much this game, has been a reliable handler for this Canadian squad. Flip to Underhill.
Germans still in their zone defense.
Well, you can just see Brucklaha just brewing downfield, looking for the opportunity for one of those over the tops, and you see the Canadians patient enough to go dump and swing. A little bit of shake off of the mark. McKenzie not liking the contact.
Really sizing him up. Brucklaha just laughing at him.
And giving him a little bit afterwards. Underhill coming down. That one a little bit accidental. Underhill. Canadians trying to build on this 9-3 lead. First point out of the second half. Sang. Back for Knapp. Bump on the mark. Sang ignores it. Plays through. Underhill finds the throw to space. McKenzie. Greer. See the physicality they're coming out with. Throw right to Brucklaha. Call all the way back.
The travel call, bringing it back. The disc going to Underhill. That was Brucklaha making the call from off the disc. And getting the disc back to the Canadian captain. And outstanding handler. No turnover. Another chance at the upwind goal to go up 7.
Mazzucchelli finding Knapp. Fits it in for the goal to Moore. Canada up 10-3. Germany trying to come back with a little bit of antics in the physical style and trying to slow down the Canadian offense.
And the Canadians just too strong for the Germans. McKenzie there exchanging words with Brucklaha. Brooke Laha each time off the contest starting with an immediate foul. But Mackenzie, not a small individual in his own right. If the Germans want to get into a physical fight, you got to imagine the Canadians are going to win that one. They know how to throw through that physicality. They can brush off those marks.
Well, you can just tell the way Underhill is a furious George player, and in coming out of that system, they love the adversity of being down, coming back, physical play. Team Canada seems to thrive off of that, I guess I could say, controversy in other situations. So here Canada has not been the aggressor. But I just don't think that would be a winning strategy even if Germany goes with the intimidation. It's not going to work against Team Canada.
You're on your own on that one, Brian. I don't know if I would characterize Canada as thriving off of controversy. But definitely the West Coast Furious Vancouver team plays a very physical style of ultimate.
Zone from the Canadians, blade over the top, finding Wallace. Wallace off of the transition, gets it back. Stroitza looking around. Toughed up defense from the Canadians. Reiner underneath Verlaher. And Ojo with the bid. Verlaher takes exception. Play resumes. Up the line to Mueller. Mueller unleashing a backhand. Looking for Bop. Lamb closing in. Bop runs it down in the back. 10-4. Canada still up 6.
And I half expected Lamb to go springing at the disc. We'd seen him get up a couple times earlier in this game, but just a little too far out of his reach. Bop brings that one down. The Germans get the game back within 6. Getting the upwind goal. The flag's blowing, but not having any effect on the ability of these players to throw the disc. We are, after all, at the U23 World Championships, and anytime you're dealing with the best players in your age category, you expect that those disc skills will be there, even when the wind is moving at a stronger clip than it is today. What we do have right now that we haven't had a lot of is a small drizzle, just enough to get the plastic bags out for the cameras, and a few umbrellas out there, but really not that much. Fantastic pull here by the Germans. Underhill fielding it.
Knapp plays catch for a little bit in the back with Sang. Nice blade flick through the cup. Underhill to Greer. Off to the races. Physicality stopping. For Underhill yet again. Now McKenzie does a triple deke move to get back. McKenzie. Sang. Moore. McKenzie. Kelly near the end zone. This is the typical offense we see at the end line for the Canadians trying to fit it in. See the Germans over pursue. Kelly fitting it into a tight space. 11-4. Canadians up 7. But no, this one's actually coming back.
Pretty little throw there.
Looks like a pick downfield. And a lot of people in a short space.
Is Jimmy Mickle down there?
Sang fits it into McKenzie for the goal.
Sang doing the same thing. More of a crouch throw than an extension. And it's getting the job done.
At 11-4 Canada, we've still got a decent ways to go, but presuming they would make the finals, so far today I've got to say Canada's looked a little better than Team USA. It's going to be an interesting finals matchup to say the least. Both of these teams have players that can match up against the very best.
I'm inclined to agree with you, Brian. The Canadian squad looking a little bit smoother than the U.S. one, and also a little bit more defined on who is doing what. You get a sense that their offense knows their own identity, where the U.S. was sort of struggling to put that together, doing a lot of different lines. And one of the big advantages is Kevin Underhill is one of the dominant handlers and conductors of the field. And that was something that we noticed time and again on the U.S. team, that they were putting out lines and you were kind of looking and you were wondering, well, who is the handler on this line? Who is the general? A lot of the reason why you had pointed out Mikkel was coming back into the handler position.
Another deep pull from Canada's defense. You can't get much better than that, if anything. Mueller to Bop. Sinclair on his back, unable to get to the Reiner.
Mueller going with the blade break. A scary little throw, because when it doesn't work, it does not work.
Looking deep for Bop. Carroll trying to run it down. Now going to be forced to drop off. No call on the play, but a stoppage here. Disc to be rechecked in. Bop on the end line for the Germans. Going to have to do more than trade, even if they're able to put this one in. Bop. Call on the play. You can really see Chura giving it physically. The Streitzer on the open side handler position. Bop. Isolation game. Clogging the resets. Out to space, Mueller.
That one definitely coming back, though, as Hota got picked in a very definitive way, running straight into the chest of Sturzer.
Bop. Open side goal. Gets it in. Christoph Harris. 11-5.
Harris, a little bit of pageantry there on the score as he waves the disc in the air. His team down 6 to the Canadians. The story of this game has just been of the technical errors by the Germans in their own red zone, short field turnovers. Canadians out to the early run. And at this point, sort of settling into a trading game. As a coach going into the finals, you win this game. You want your team going in firing and hot. You don't want to settle for just a trade game. You'd rather go in knowing that you did it the whole 100 minutes. You played hard, and it didn't matter what the other team was doing, because you don't want to influence your own team's game based on what the other team is doing, for good or for worse.
Underhill finding Knapp, and I agree with you, Kevin. It's really important that you maintain your focus throughout. Massa Kelly looking for McKenzie. Brooke Laha on the back. Goes up early. Caught by Moore for the goal.
And Brooke Lahu going with a little fake jump. Mackenzie loves the inside-out backhand. He does a really nice job with it. Going up early, and everybody finding a little bit of Mackenzie. Taking a beating there, but his team coming up with the score. Getting back into the 7-point cushion. Again, it's just been a trade-off since the start of this second half. Everybody scoring in the upwind direction. Everybody coming down zone. None of those zones resulting in any turnovers so far.
The wind isn't strong enough to really do anything to the disc. As you can see, the hucks are still as long as ever. A lot of these guys able to put the disc out to space. Canadians here, as we talked about, Kevin, you really, if you're Andy Collins, the head coach here for Canada, you want your team to finish strong. You'd love to see him go in with a huge run here on defense and really win the game and not just relax and trade out, as you've talked about.
See if they can get another deep pull. They've been doing had a lot of those, impressing the crowd. And this is the man that's been doing it. Halter this time opted for one that is intended to roll, ideally out the back. This one 5 yards back of the end zone. And each time the Germans are finding a hole directly through the cup of the Canadians.
Mueller, throw through.
Ian just has a huge boner for Jimmy Mickle, so every time I say Jimmy, he thinks it's Mickle.
And that's number 73, Holtze, saying that there was a call. All the Canadians saying there was no call. Hochhalter saying, hey, look, Canada, we're just gonna win this game anyway. Give it to them.
Hoffman. Underneath. No foul called at the play. It was Turner bumping on the mark. Hochhalter. Looking back for the dump off the. Falls down, but Sia able to make the play. Turner too far, can't make the bid along the sidelines. Gonna go back the other way, Germany. Mueller. Correction earlier, Andy Collins not the head coach of Team Canada. That actually belongs, title belongs to the coach of Mooney. Hochhalter going up for the sky, tipped in the air, caught by Hoffman. Smallest man on the field gets the hospital pass. Mueller looking deep for Bob, one of his favorite targets. Bob survives the contact. Goal for Germany. Still a 6-point deficit. I'm looking for the head coach here, correction, and that for Patrick Mooney for Team Canada. Still getting on his players right now.
And Bob just the size advantage there. And Mueller really likes that backhand huck. I would switch the force up on him, make him go flick. I'd say both teams could benefit from some flick force because Massey Kelly's been doing the same. Same for the Canadians. And the Canadian marks not coming as flat as they were earlier when they were getting the breaks, coming in more directional, allowing for that backhand huck and Mueller to really step out and get as much space as he needs to work with.
12-6 Canada. And really, after that point, you saw a lot of talk from the Canadian coaches, keeping the focus up, working still. It reminds me of a story of, and Canadians would love this in hockey, Scotty Bowman won a lot of Stanley Cups and was known for when his team was losing to get quieter and let his team just get back and find their confidence. But when they were winning, he was on them for the entire game, and you see that here from Team Canada coaches. Kelly going deep. Sia catches it before the end zone. Kelly grabbed in the stack.
Just a bear hug.
Germany trying to do anything and everything.
And definitely willing to do anything at this point in the game. Coming in, shouldering the throwers. A bear hug there we saw. That was number 67. Johannes Schall with the bear hug.
God, that would be so great if there was a
Pick call, though. Kelly with the disc, guarded by Brooke Laha.
Kelly tried to fit it and just contact it. I mean, this is ridiculous, Kevin.
They just chested up. That was sick. Fight.
And Germans meeting over there in the middle of the field. It's just unacceptable.
The guy on my screen is the one who chested
Mo
up the Canadian
with
guy.
his mark.
Then it's this dude.
And that is a straight up tackle. McKenzie has words to say with Brooke Laha.
Talking about Germany. I have him.
That's just not an ultimate play. That's not a bit in the back. That's not a bump on the mark.
It's not playing for the disc, that's for sure. If it's playing for the disc, you're not going to wrap around. His bidding hand came around and grabbed McKenzie. It wasn't his offhand. If you do see a backpack sometimes, it's always with the offhand. He comes with his left hand, which he was trying to make a play with, doesn't make the play, and then just proceeds to grab McKenzie.
13-6.
But the Canadians in high spirits, they know they're in control of this game. They're reading the German antics as a sign of their defeat. Still urging, looking for that second half break. They're 4 points away from a finals appearance. They'd like to do it with a little bit of defense, though.
It's a deep pull. Gonna go out the back, land right on the Porterfield line.
How is this mud spot formed and the rest of the field is just fine?
13-6, and it looks like you said before, Kevin, a formality here. Canada will be meeting USA, the matchup we've been expecting all week long. It took 7 days to get there. Wallace catches the underneath, bop. Stoita looking for the around, not available. Forced to go back to bop.
I had it up here to wipe my hands off, but I don't run that much, so.
Stoita. Harris looking for the D. Andrew Carroll over the shoulder. Queens University from also plays club on GOAT. Trying to finish out this game strong.
Jimmy's bringing you the rag.
Muscle looking for Sinclair. Back to Lamb.
Sure. Try not to fake my
Sinclair makes a circular cut, gets it back right in the goal line. Contact. Looking backfield, hooked. Carroll flip for the goal. Lamb reels it in. 14-6.
And there's the break Canada's been looking for. There's the break we've been looking for. That one, the first in the second half, and extending the lead from 7 to 8. Canadians in complete control of this game.
Nothing much more to be said about Canada at this point in time. They're rolling. Their defense has just been denying every option for the Germans. A dominating performance, definitely by the entire squad. Germany didn't have the start they wanted, but they were able to tie it back at 2s, and at that point, you're back in the game. You have that confidence. But this is not about confidence. This is about being outmatched.
They've definitely been outmatched this game. The disc movement and the depth of skill by the Canadian team has really stepped up.
God, that's awesome. I assume that
and led them to this 8-point lead.
Well, he's on the group me.
They almost definitely going to be meeting up with the Americans tomorrow in the anticipated and expected final, the 1 and the 2 seed.
2 p.m. tomorrow. Be sure to tune in, even for those of you at Wildwood. Bob Mueller going deep, looking for Gross. This one carrying. Gross reels it in. The Germans a little bit of delayed celebration, racking up another point total, but still down by 7.
Say what you will, Mueller, one of the best throwers here at this tournament, has shown off a lot of his skills, his ability to put the disc deep, do things short. He was breaking through the cup earlier with the blades. A lot of different tools in his arsenal. But the Canadians, too many handlers, too many cutters. The depth chart just a little bit deeper, or a lot deeper, depending on your perspective.
Well, I think there's a couple of people when we start to preview tomorrow's matchup that they're going to have to watch out for if U.S. defending Team Canada. You're going to look at Isaiah Masekeli, who's had a good tournament, and Kevin Underhill, and who else is going to guard him? I would be very surprised to see none other than Matt Bode taking that matchup.
That will be one to watch for sure.
Split stack here for the Canadians. They really haven't had to display their set plays.
It'll be interesting to see what the Canadians do if the U.S. is effectively able to shut down Masekeli and Underhill. Those guys have been doing a lot of heavy lifting for this squad.
Knapp. Feinsang puts it out deep, looking for more. More. Can't quite get there.
I think you could probably say the same, though, for the American squad. What happens when you shut down Klein and Toner? Where does the potency come from behind the disc?
Well, I think they're going to have Hart and Mickle behind doing
true.
the majority of the work. I agree with you there. It's going to come down to a battle, though, on the defensive line, I think, for the U.S. Can they generate breaks consistently? Because that's been a problem for them where they've had a lot more opportunities than the other teams but haven't been able to convert. Germany here with a chance to break after the overthrow.
I don't think
Looking deep.
it's been a pretty quick game.
Newton Mueller. Underhill's going to get it back. Knapp. More backing up. Flip to Greer. Greer to Moore. Back to Knapp. Call on the play.
And a little cluster out there in the dark spot.
Germany is not good.
Clarification on what the count's coming in. Moore with the disc. Has an open dump, but that will surely be closed down right away. I like Moore going to Greer here, a little high release backhand.
Moore choosing to go with the
Other 6'4" guy behind him in the stack.
nap to Underhill. Yes! 15-7. Canada leading by 8. Getting to the end of this one. Question, as we were talking about previewing tomorrow's matchup in the Open Division, you know, we talk about Canada and they do have good cutters, but really you have Freistatter, you have Johnson downfield, you have Camp, one of the, I think, more underrated players from the U.S., somebody that you're not necessarily going to lock on to. You have a lot of other athletic people available on D. How does Canada shut those down? And I wonder what they're going to do to try to prevent it from getting into those cutters' hands. Timeout here by Germany. Trying to regroup. And we'll be right back to see the conclusion of this one. Next Gen Network's coverage of the U23 World Champ. We're back here in Toronto, Canada, finishing up the second Open semifinal, making it more of a formality. Canada up 15-7 on Team Germany. Team Germany, one of the surprise teams in the semifinal. However, we are looking forward to tomorrow's matchup at 2 p.m. on Next Gen Network. I'm Brian Jones here with Kevin Minder out. Looking like it's going to be Team Canada versus Team USA. And we have ourselves both teams with a lot of talent across the board. And it's going to be interesting, Kevin, to see how those matchups continue to go with the cutting strength of the U.S. and the handling strength of Team Canada, although they have several injuries at that D-line handlers. Kovac's not playing today. In addition to a few other handlers. And Andy Collins telling me earlier, one of the coaches for Team Canada, he's had to put his players on a pitch count, really just as how many points they're allowed to play. He's been able to do that with Team Canada's depth, for sure. But going to be hard to play out tomorrow against Team USA.
And on paper, I like the U.S. squad better than the Canadian squad. But the way that we've seen the Canadians play as a team, they've showed a lot more cohesion and identity. They're not as star-powered, but they're good enough that they can, working as a team, they can overcome the strengths of the U.S. team.
I think it's going to be big, and if U.S. can stop the set plays of Team Canada and transition as well as they did. Wallace going deep. No one looking forward for it.
That's perfect, Germany.
Very well. We've seen USA today transition very well out of zone defense. I think that's going to be critical to their success as Canada going back. Carroll with a lot of room to burn. Carroll puts it out. Finds his man Zito for the score. 16-7, 1 point away from the finals. Tomorrow we'll have all three finals for you. The women's division, Team USA versus Team Japan. USA promising to be a good one, pulling out victory from the jaws of defeat, being down 16-14 to Team Japan earlier in the week in pool play, winning that one 17-16. Looking at the other division, also hopefully another good game. Team USA versus Team Canada in the mixed. USA winning 17-16 and a 6-turnover universe point. That game occurring in power pools. And here we'll have Team Canada versus Team USA, almost a clean sweep of the divisions, 2 out of 3 matchups. Canada losing in the women's division earlier today on universe point to Team Japan. And we saw some great plays by Lauren Kimura, absolutely coming up with a great toe drag to tie it at 11s and almost had the game-winning catch inches away. Unfortunate for the home crowd. They'll be fighting for bronze.
Those games all starting here on NGN tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Make sure to join us. Those of you on the West Coast, set your alarm clocks. Wake up early. Cup of coffee, some breakfast. Sunday morning. What else do you have to do?
For those of you at Wildwood, who wants to spend the day at the beach anyway? For those who are going to be busy playing some Beach Ultimate, we'll have this for you. Of course, VOD. German's here, fighting through a zone. Bralaha. Canadians transition to man. Bop streaking deep. Underthrown, tipped in there. Bop able to keep it inbounds. Going deep for Mueller. Nico Mueller going to end it on a high note with the greatest of Brooke Laher. Captain the captain. They may not come away with a win, but they're going to come away with a highlight.
And boy, would you rather have a win, Brian. But a fine highlight it is. Great awareness by Mueller and Brooke Laha working together, scooping it over his left shoulder. And a fun moment for the German team. The first completed Callahan we've seen at this, the first completed greatest we've seen at this tournament. We'll take one more look at it, because when it's great,
So nice, we'll watch it twice.
it's great.
Finish him.
Canadians 1 point away from ending this game. That one going out of bounds. The Germans not having as much luck with the polling. Several of them have been out of bounds so far today. We saw the same against Japan. Canadians, on the other hand, dropping fantastic pull after fantastic pull in the back of the end zone.
Underhill beating his man to the open side. Big gainer off the up line. McKenzie.
That was a really good play. Got them in such good position. Come on.
And a D by the Germans gets it back. They're not done yet. Laha.
Yeah. The throw in that turn.
Shaw.
If this were a game of soccer, I would lead the mob that breaks his legs.
Pick called on the play. This one going back.
McKenzie marking Brooke Laha. Those guys exchanging words earlier in this second half.
Overthrow gives it back to the Canadians. Knapp pushing his way through. Wants to end this one, get to the finals. Underhill, Knapp. Kelly, Knapp's younger brother here on the and actually the mixed squad. Considered one of their best players. McKenzie, Knapp. Fits it in for the goal and the win. Canada's going to the finals. Crowd loves it. Germany will finish in the top 4. We'll have a bronze medal game tomorrow. Still bitter disappointment.
3-point fun,
You can tell they're really gunning here and had the confidence throughout the tournament to try to play with the best. Their best effort, though, just not good enough today. And we'll be back tomorrow for all 3 finals. For Kevin Minderhout, I'm Brian Jones. Make sure to tune in tomorrow. Coverage starting at 10 a.m. Thanks for tuning in. This is Next Gen Network's coverage of the U23 World Championships.